If you are like any of the millions of people on this earth that have lost weight, been so happy, and then slowly saw the weight come back on, if that's been you, you know how maddening and how frustrating it can be. But here is the thing. I'm going to give you today in this video 3 things that you need to do while you're losing weight to put you in the best possible position to not gain the weight back. Because everybody can lose weight. It's the keeping it off and not gaining it back. That's the tricky part, and that's what we're going to deal with today. My name is Kristen Jones, and I am a life coach, and I help overeaters and emotional eaters lose weight. And I'm also someone who has gained and lost the same 10 pounds 30 times in their life. So I know exactly what this is all about. And I will tell you that once I discovered these 3 things, everything changed and the weight stayed off for good. So let's get to those 3 things. Reason number 1, the first thing you need to do when you are losing weight is you need to not dramatically change every single thing that you're eating. Your brain completely rebels when you make sudden, dramatic, drastic changes to what you eat. It does not like it. I mean, the same way you don't like it. It doesn't like it. It will go along with it for a while, and then it starts to think, this isn't normal. We're gonna start to push back, and we're gonna start to increase the thoughts that they have about food and the cravings that you're gonna have for food. It does not work to dramatically change how you are eating. The reason is when you get to your goal weight, when you have changed dramatically how you eat, and you get to your goal weight, and you're so excited, but all you can think about is, I want to go back to eating the way I used to. If you didn't lose weight, eating foods that you love and eating foods that you're always wanting to eat for the rest of your life, you're going to have that dramatic change where all of a sudden you're going to start to try and incorporate those foods into your diet, and it's not going to work because you have denied yourself and told yourself you couldn't have those foods for this long period of time. And then all of a sudden you're going to say, oh, I can start eating them again. And you think that you're going to be controlled with it. That's not going to happen. Absolutely not. If you incorporate and you include foods in your weight loss plan that are foods that you love, and you eat them in a way that allows you to continue to lose weight, you absolutely won't have that dramatic transition from when you stop losing weight to when you actually are able to maintain your weight. But it's way more important to be able to eat with foods that you want to eat for the rest of your life. Use those foods to lose weight, and then the transition to your normal way of eating won't be so dramatic. So that's tip number 1. Second thing you need to do is you need to make sure that you are not losing weight to improve your life. If you're not happy losing weight and getting to your goal weight, I'm sorry to say, it's not going to make you happy. You may be happy for a week. You may be happy when people notice, oh my gosh, you've lost weight. Oh, you look so great. It feels really good. But if inside, if your self-esteem and your value in yourself is tied to this weight loss, you are going to be so crazy and so miserable the moment there is any kind of fluctuation in your weight, there's any kind of weight gain that comes back, anything like that happens, 1 to 2 pounds, is going to totally throw you off. The other thing is, if you get to your goal weight and you still hate your job, and your kids are still sassy, and you don't really like your husband, and frankly, you don't really like yourself, you're going to realize how hard it is to maintain that weight loss. And because that weight loss didn't fix any of those things, it's going to be much easier to say, forget it, I'm just going to eat that extra helping. I'm going to have that donut. I'm going to eat that extra cookie. That's going to come much, much easier to you because you're not seeing the changes that you were hoping to see. And again, weight loss is not going to change those things. So what do? You need to address why your self-esteem is low, where that comes from, and start working with a coach or a therapist to work on bringing up and raising your value that you see in yourself, and really try to get your value to be based upon who you are as a person, and not what the number on the scale is, and not what other people think of you, but it's how you feel about yourself. If you don't get that figured out, weight loss is not going to fix that. Ever, 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 ever. So don't rely on that. That is the number one reason why people regain weight, is because they lose weight and they expect it's going to make them happy. And then they realize, oh my gosh, my life still sucks. This isn't worth it. I'm just going to eat instead because I might as well eat and be happy. So really, do not make your weight loss the fix-all for your life. You have to fix your life first. And the third thing that you need to do is you need to discover, why did you gain weight in the first place? What happened? What was going on? Why have you started using food as something other than fuel? Now, there are so many people who will say, well, I just like eating food. That's wrong. You're fooling yourself if you think that. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to gain weight. I want to gain weight. I want to have my pants not fit. I want to be uncomfortable in my own skin. Nobody says that. Food is not worth that much. What people don't realize is when they start to make food their friend, their confidant, their warm blanket, the thing that makes them feel better, the thing that makes them feel less alone. When you discover why food is being something other than fuel for you, when you can realize that, and you can come to a place where you realize, like, maybe I need to be talking to somebody. Maybe I need to be doing some journaling. Maybe I need to be working on how I feel about myself first, instead of trying to avoid those feelings, avoid those emotions, and just turn to food because that makes me feel better. Discovering why you gained weight in the first place is absolutely vital. Because if you can figure out what that is, what the mechanism is, what the trigger was that caused you to start using food in a way that it was not intended, you can then catch yourself if and when that starts to happen after you have reached your goal weight. And if you get back into the same patterns, if you don't change the patterns of eating and your patterns of belief about food's role in your life, if you don't change those while you're losing weight, the same thing is going to happen over and over and over again. And the weight is going to come back on because you haven't addressed what the root cause is of why food became that crutch, why food became the thing that you turn to. And it doesn't have to just be food. I mean, it could have been wine. It could have been any kind of alcohol. It could have been smoking weed. It could have been shopping, any of those things. But when we want to avoid feelings or emotions, food is usually the easiest one for us to do that with. And so it's important, if you don't want to gain that weight back, you need to figure out, why did I turn to food in the first place, and how do I fix that? And so that, again, looking at working with a coach or a therapist to figure out how did that happen? What were the circumstances? What was happening in my life that was causing me to start to want to distract myself, to start, to make me not want to feel things, to make me bury my emotions, to not express myself. When you can figure that out and then you become aware of it, you can then take steps. Once you've reached your goal weight, you can take steps to figure out, okay, how am I going to avoid that? Okay, I'm going to start journaling. I'm going to start seeing a coach or a therapist. I am going to start talking to people. I am going to start doing exercise. Maybe I didn't exercise. I'm going to start doing exercises that really make me feel really good. I'm going to take up a hobby. Whatever it is, you've got to start looking at the deeper issues, because these deeper issues, if they're not addressed, that's why the weight comes back on. Honestly, if you're looking at wanting to lose weight and not wanting to gain it back, has nothing to do with the food that you're eating. It has nothing to do with whether they're carbs or whether they're fat or protein, whatever it is. That has nothing to do with it. It's not about the food. It's about the things behind the food. It's the reasonings behind why you're eating in the first place. It's how you're choosing to lose weight and what you're making the weight loss mean about you and how the importance that it's going to have in your life. You should think that you are an amazing person no matter what that number on the scale is. And I know that's hard to think that, oh my gosh, I'm going to think that way about yourself. Yes, you need to have unconditional love for yourself, regardless of what your weight is, because that is going to be, if you don't lose weight from a place of love and you lose it from a place of anger and hate and shame, that weight's going to come right back on. So those 3 things are the 3 things that you need to look at. Don't change dramatically what you eat. Make sure that you make weight loss about a why that is important to you and not because it's going to change your life and it's going to make you happy. And then the 3rd thing, how did you get here in the first place? Discover what the thing behind your weight gain is, and then figure out how you can alleviate that and avoid that from happening again. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, Kristen Jones Coaching, because I want to give you more tips and strategies just like this to help you lose weight forever. I'll see you in the next